Assalamu alaikum. May peace be upon all of you, my fellow learners, professionals, ladies and gentlemen. How are you all? In this video, we are going to look at how to apply for CIMA membership through the existing requirement approach of application. You know, there are three methods that you can apply: existing, updated, and IPD. Among the three methods, in this video, our focus is learning everything we need to know about the existing requirements. Let's take a look. But before I get started, I want to clearly outline, because I don't want anyone to waste their time, I want to clearly outline who the target audience for this video is. If you are a CIMA finalist, let's say, as in you have the strategic case study exam to do, that is what we mean by a CIMA finalist, or eligible to apply for CIMA membership, that is after strategic level OTQs. At any stage you are eligible to apply for strategic level, no, you are eligible to apply for CIMA membership. If you are such a potential membership candidate, and if you are not aware of the PER application process, and if you want to learn about the PER process clearly, this video is for you. On that note, let's get started on learning the existing requirement for CIMA PER. So what I'm going to do is, if you look at the official CIMA website, as you can see here, this is the Becoming a CGMA Practical Experience Requirements Existing Requirements page. And in this page, as you go along, there is a presentation. See our presentation on completing your career profile. What we are going to do is we are going to use this presentation, which is in the public domain, to learn about the application process. So you can simply just click on this and get the presentation to your PC and follow through the slides as well. Let's take a look. So this is the first page, applying for the CIMA membership existing practical experience requirement. Take the most straightforward path to CIMA membership using our paper-based application form. True, this is a paper-based application form. So here they outline, in this slide they say, before you progress to CIMA membership, you have to have completed the strategic level. You should have at least 3 years, that is 36 months worth of relevant practical experience. We will be talking about what relevant means. Students who have successfully completed their strategic case study, have 4 years to complete their membership application, are eligible, but CIMA recommends that you apply as soon as possible. In fact, even I recommend that. The sooner you get the membership, the sooner you could probably potentially reap the benefits of the CIMA membership. All right. Now, let's take a closer look at the relevancy of practical experience requirements. There are mainly 3 core areas, which is called basic experience, co-experience, and supplementary evidence. Now, in area 1, what we do is we offer the basic experience that any management accountant is expected to have. Under co-experience, it should be as hands-on as possible, and you might be contributing to activities without having direct responsibility. So you might not be the manager of that project, but you might be working closely to the manager, you might be reporting to the manager. So there is no direct responsibility, but you are executing work that is related to co-activities that are outlined by CIMA. Under this category, you must demonstrate a minimum of 18 months worth of experience. Third area is supplementary evidence. Supplementary evidence might include responsibility for research, analysis and evaluation of activities, assisting with activities or contributing as part of a team, and you must demonstrate a minimum of 3 years experience under this. So I want to take your attention to the requirement areas themselves. So the slide here that you can see clearly outlines the different scopes, different segments, different sectors that involve the 3 aspects. So basic, some examples are preparing and maintaining accounting records, statutory and regulatory reporting, IT desktop skills, systems and procedure development. Under core activities, Preparation of management accounts. So you will notice core activities are those main functions that are directly related to the career and the profession of management accountancy. So preparation of management accounts, planning, budgeting and forecasting, management reporting for decision making, product and service costing, information management, project appraisal, project management, working capital control, risk management and business assurance are some example areas that fall under the core activities experience sector. The supplementary or support the supplementary aspect is related to financial strategy, corporate finance, treasury management, taxation, business evaluation and appraisal, business strategy and external relationship. So if you go to the website, you can download the PER brochure. Here, this is the brochure they are talking about in this slide. So you can simply just go to the brochure and check in detail. The brochure goes into extensive detail with a few examples under each of these different categories outlined to give you more visibility on how to choose. Let's say you had done a certain activity. How do you exactly choose which category does it belong to? That choice you can make through the brochure, for which the link I will be including my Google Drive folder link as well for you to download all the documents from one place. Let's continue. All right, now when I started, we saw that the existing method simply involves a paper-based form. You're filling a form. This form has 4 sections, and these are the 4 sections. You have a paper-based application form. The section B, second section is employment summary. Section C is detailed record of experience, and section D, record of skills development. These are the 4 sections of your application for CIMA membership. Now, if you look at the website, you can basically download these 4 sections. Here you go. You record your experience in a career profile, which includes, these are the 4 sections, which you can simply download by clicking on these links. And some of them are templates, which you can use to, or which you can refer to understand what kind of writing do they expect. Let's now take a look at each of these 4 sections closely. Firstly, section A. In section A, you have the application form, which includes where you have to present your personal details, proposer and seconder declarations. I'll talk about proposers and seconders shortly. Current employment details. What is your current status of profession? Remittance advice in terms of the fee that you have to pay for the membership application, and the checklist. Personal details, you simply have to complete your personal details. You will need to provide your CIMA ID number, contact ID. You will need to provide the dates when you completed your exams or the strategic level. That is very important. The proposer and seconder are 2 people who can verify a minimum of 36 months of relevant practical experience between them. Out of the 36, a mandate is 18 months should come from your core experience categories. That is a mandate. If your proposer and seconder, these are the 2 individuals, preferably your previous supervisors, your company managers, people who you directly report to, your company CEO, CFO, they can be proposers and seconders. If your proposer and seconder don't cover the full 36 months, you will need to get additional signatures. Depending on what exactly covers the remaining months to get to the 36-month target, those people, the people who can verify those pieces of experiences, must be signing off your experience write-up. Please note, if you're gaining practical experience within your current role, you must include verification for this role, which is basically very easy to do because it's your current role. You have your manager verifying. That is very simple. The final sections are related to current employment, remittance and checklist. In this first part of your application, you have to complete the details of your current employment. You have to enclose the appropriate fee. We will talk about the fee. Checklist, which is at the end of the application form. There's a simple table with a checklist which you can review to see if you have filled in all the relevant details and attached all the relevant or all the important documents and evidences. Let's take a look at the membership fee as of now. I'm recording this in June 2021. As of now, the annual subscription for, if you become a member, two commitments. One is the membership application fee that you have to pay, and the other commitment is the annual membership fee. So the membership application fee is £165, which you have to pay to CIMA as the remittance. Along with your application, you can directly, if you have 7 years worth of experience, you can directly apply to be a fellow, or else you simply have to apply first to get the membership. The annual subscription for associate membership of CIMA, ACMA and CGMA is currently £297. The annual subscription for fellowship to becoming a fellow is currently £313. That is a quick reminder. You will notice that there are other elements here, like for example, what you notice here, membership application fee directly when you apply to fellow. Normally it's £165, but to directly apply to fellowship, you have to pay £260. But this video doesn't really focus much on applying for fellowship, much more related to applying for initial membership or associate membership of CIMA. Let's proceed. Now, that is the section A of your application form. The section B, the second section, is known as the employment summary. Now, in the employment summary, you must enter your full employment history starting with the earliest first. Remember that, earliest first. Periods of unemployment and breaks in employment. Let's say you worked for a certain time period and then you took a sabbatical or a break for 6 months. You have to include those time periods, those breaks you take, and explain them. That is very important. Each separate position in the same company, if you have held multiple positions, individually each of those positions must be explained. And you have to enter the number of months experience gained in each area. So this is a very important point that I want to highlight. Throughout the entire existing application route, the way you refer to time, the way you present the time that you've worked in any particular employment tenure has to be given always in months. Don't write 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Always make sure that you write it in equivalent months of work. So a couple of important notes about section A and B. Both the forms are very, very easy to complete, but you must take good care when you complete the number of months for each job role, and ultimately the target is to complete the number of months in such a way that you, in accumulation, when you finally accumulate all of those number of months, equivalent number of months for the relevant experience you show, it should definitely either at minimum be 36 or more than 36 months. That's about section A and B. Next, section C, the detailed record of experience. For each of these positions that you held, you must provide the name of your employer. So in section B, do you remember you provided your employment summary, earliest first? You recorded all the positions you've held throughout the entire time period you've worked as a professional. For each of these positions held, you must identify the name of your employer, your job title, the period of employment, who you reported to, brief description of the organization, and organizational overview you have to provide briefly. Don't make it extremely lengthy. That is not going to add any kind of value to your PER application. Keep the organizational description very brief and the details of the work you carried out. So that is what we call the detailed record of experience, which means you have to basically write an essay format, essay type experience presentation of how you, it's basically your own words to prove that you've accumulated the basic core and supplementary experience. For each of the positions held, you have to write your essay format presentation of proof. Now here, can you note on the right of the screen, students write this part of the application themselves. There is no template. So that is where you have freedom. That is why I said it's a essay format process where you write freely and prove to CIMA that you've accumulated the relevant experience in terms of the number of months that you display in the section B, in the employment summary part of the application. All right, now let's take a closer look at the detailed record of experience. What exactly should be included in the essay elements? When you write the essay type description, what should you include? For all the relevant experience, you need to explain who did you report to, how did you actually approach the task. So one thing that students find easy to do is, let's say you had worked as an assistant manager in a certain company under a certain, undertaking certain responsibilities. Now it will be easy to introduce the entire job role generally in a couple of paragraphs, but then a tactic that a lot of students use, and I also recommend, is you handpick some major events, major responsibilities that you held, major projects and major tasks that you undertook within that role to illustrate all the experience, all the relevant experiences that you accumulated when you were performing that particular function in that particular role. So how did you actually approach the task? How often did you do it? What did it need to, why did it need to be done? What was the purpose of it? Who was the end user or the customer of that particular activity? What software IT did you use? You would have noticed IT desktop skills was a part of the basic experience element. So you have to, display soft skills, IT skills. How many people helped you, or were you part of a team, or did you do it solo? What was the outcome? These are a few hints. Here you go. These are a few hints that you can use to actually illustrate better what you present as your detailed record of experience for each role. All right. Now, when you present a document, a presentation, the presentation itself is very important. The purpose, the audience, the layout, all of that can be very critical. So CIMA actually gives you a few hints, a few points that you can use to make your presentation look good. Use a format that looks neat and tidy. Avoid an employment CV. So this by no means should be a CV or a resume. This is not a CV. Please remember that. That is why I used the term essay format. So you present an essay format documentation which gives a detailed record of experience without any bullet points. You have to write it in the first person. So because you're the one who's writing it, I did this, I was able to do this, I worked as part of this team, I was responsible for this, I was able to undertake this particular activity, I executed these particular tasks, etc., etc. So you write it in the first person, and this entire section should be between 5 to 15 pages of A4 sheets. So it is generally not recommended. Recently, I actually, one of the consults I did recently went up to 15 pages, 14 pages actually, which was of a potential member who has now got the membership of nearly 22 years worth of work experience. Right? So 22 years worth of experience was put into 14 pages. So that should give you a rough idea of how many pages you get to write, but a minimum of 5 pages must be written. So if you have worked for about 5 years, 6 years, I would say use the freedom, use up about 9 to 10 pages at minimum, and write a very good piece of a detailed record of experience. On that note, we move to the final section, which is section D, record of skills development. So other than technical core skills that you need to function as a management accountant, you also have to develop certain other skills that will help you. These skills are of 3 categories. Describe how you have developed the following skills. CIMA says you have to present to them, show them, and give evidence in terms of your improvements relating to personal or self-management skills, interpersonal, interacting with and managing others related skills, and organizational, managing organizational resources that you have. Personal, interpersonal, and organizational skills. The proof that you provide in how you improved and developed these three categories of skills is what is included in the section D, or the fourth section of your existing requirement application. To complete the record of skills development, you will need to reflect on your work experience. So this is like a self-reflection statement. It's something that you're writing about yourself, about the experience that you went through and how you were able to accumulate these categories of skills into yourself. And provide a minimum of 1 or maximum of 3 examples. So you can't simply say, I got communication skills, I was able to, acquire technical skills, I was able to lead a team. You cannot just say it. You have to, at minimum, provide 1, maximum of 3 examples, real life examples of how you actually, this incident, you have to explain the incident and the circumstances surrounding your accumulation of that particular skill through the work you have done for each of the 3 skill areas. If when carrying out a particular piece of work or project, you demonstrated more than one of the 3 skill types, you can refer to that example in each of the relevant areas. So this is again another common question. That's why I included it, where sometimes students say they went through a certain incident and they undertook a serious project. When they did that project, they were able to actually improve their personal skills, but they also improved their interpersonal skills. So the same example can be used. CIMA says here, you can use the same example, but the way you write has to be relevant to the 2 different categories of skills differently. You can't write the same words, you can't copy and paste. You have to show how your personal skills were improved from that incident, and separately show how your interpersonal skills were improved from that incident or the project that you undertook. So we are going to look at the 3 skills a little closely. Personal skills are skills. So let's go through a small example. It's your ability to manage your time effectively, to meet deadlines even when under pressure, or to adapt and cope with difficult or challenging situations when perhaps things don't go according to plan, etc. These are few examples of personal skills which you can find in the record of skills development template that CIMA has provided in the website. Interpersonal skills, it's about working with others. Your ability to work well within teams or to lead teams, your ability to communicate complex ideas and issues effectively to staff at a number of levels in the organization, including non-accountants, your ability to negotiate or achieve compromise, etc. are few examples where basically you're communicating and working with others. The third is organizational skills, basically managing organizational resources. So here are a few examples that illustrate these. Your ability to manage organizational resources so as to add value to your work. It doesn't always have to be money. Even as a team leader, the employees or the team members you have are organizational resources. Some team leaders you would have noted are very effective. They get a lot of work done if they have a team of 3 people. But some teams of the same number of members, 3 members, are very ineffective. So a large part of that difference is attributed to team leadership. So in such a case, even utilizing that kind of organizational resource, the resource of humans, is also a good example that you can use. Your ability to gather organizational information, to identify opportunities for improvement, your ability to network effectively and to manage processes, etc. These are 3 sets of examples that I've derived from the template provided by CIMA to explain to you what the 3 different types of development skills that are required for the membership application in section D. Finally, how can you apply? How to apply? There are three approaches. You can apply by email, where you scan in, you print the application form, you type everything, and then you print it out, all the documents, section A, B, C, and D. Then you scan it and send your fully completed application in full color to membership.admissions@aicpa-cima.com, which is their official email address. By post, you can post your full completed application to the given address of CIMA, and you can go ahead with a in-person form. Now, if you check the website, face-to-face membership assessment sessions, please check the website for dates and locations. So in your CIMA portal, mycima.com, under the CIMA Global website, you can actually check for time slots available in your respective countries for face-to-face interviews. So if you prefer that option, you can basically register for a face-to-face interview where you get to meet a CIMA fellow, and that person is going to interview you, ask you questions, and review your application and inform you what the result is. The face-to-face application, I've already explained this in my first video in the series, but remember, the face-to-face application is a good choice for you if you want to become a CIMA member immediately, because on the day itself, on the day that you have the interview, they let you know whether you are a member or not. So how does the decision happen? You will receive an acknowledgement of your application once you submit the application. Once CIMA gets the application, they'll let you know we've got the application. Decisions are of two types. One is accept, and CIMA has a decent track record of this particular slide set is a little old. So they have a decent, very high percentage of applications which are successful. A lot of students simply write authentically with integrity and pass. It's a very simple process. The other type of decision is deferment. So they don't actually reject applications. What happens is they defer the application, where individual feedback will be provided upon the review of your application by the CIMA fellow, and that feedback will help you resubmit. Applicants typically receive a decision within 4 to 6 weeks from receiving your acknowledgement emails if you go through the online process. But if you are an attendee of the face-to-face interview process, you will receive the decision then and there itself. That is actually what I did in 2015, where I got my CIMA membership. I went for a face-to-face interview session here at the CIMA local division in Sri Lanka. And my interviewer was Miss Melanie Kanaga, who was the World Bank representative here locally. And we had a good conversation, tough lady. And she offered me the CIMA membership. And that is how you apply for the CIMA membership through the existing PER, or Practical Experience Requirement approach. And why the existing approach is very popular, and I believe that you're going through the final phases of CIMA actually undertaking membership applications through this process, because CIMA has recently introduced the IPD tool, the initial professional development tool, which they are piloting these days. So if you are eligible, you can refer to my other video that is going to be on the IPD itself. But this is how you go ahead, and if you're someone who is eligible for CIMA membership, please, I would recommend and suggest that you go ahead immediately as soon as possible with this method. This is the most popular and truly the most straightforward and easiest approach to get your CIMA membership. But when you write your essay format, detailed records of experience, when you include information, make sure that the work is original, authentic, and coming from the heart. You really and properly explain what you have done, and you clearly link it to the basic core and supplementary activities that CIMA has outlined. This is part of the CIMA PER Consult review and consult service I offer under AZB Education. So if you're someone who is interested, who wants to get expert guidance on your CIMA PER application, especially with the existing requirement, you think you want support, you can consult me and we can work together. I will be reviewing your application, and we will be working on presenting a final format of the application directly to CIMA in a way that you get through your CIMA membership in one go. That is, if you need support and guidance, please check the link in the description section and you can get the details immediately. I also want to remind you that I offer career guidance and mentoring solutions. If you are a young professional, if you are an early student or campus university student, CIMA student, you need guidance, you need mentoring, you need advice with respect to your educational path, with respect to your career. If you're facing certain challenges and if you are uncertain about how to navigate those challenges, you can reach out to me. Please, you can either click in the link in the description relating to my mentoring and guidance services, or you can simply write an email to azman.branudeen@gmail.com and we can get started. There is nothing, absolutely nothing to worry about. Any problem can be solved as far as your career and educational path is concerned. On that note, all the best. I hope the video has been helpful, that you have a very clear idea about the existing requirement for CIMA membership. All the very best with your application process. I will see you in another video. Until then, thank you very much. May peace be upon all of you and your loved ones. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.